Rena, a quiet 20-year-old village girl, is forced into marriage with a retired colonel twice her age to protect her family's honor after her cousin runs away with a lover. Seen as the shame eraser, Rena becomes a prisoner in a mansion where she's not allowed to speak, not allowed to leave, and is routinely insulted by her in-laws. One day, after saving the colonel's elderly mother from an accident, a surprising bond grows. The colonel begins to see her humanity, and the story shifts toward emotional healing, mutual understanding, and a second chance at real love. Some girls grow up dreaming of their wedding day, the dress, the flowers, the love, but for Rena, marriage came like a punishment. A decision made not from her heart, but from someone else's shame. She didn't choose her husband. She didn't say yes. At just 20 years old, Rena was traded like an apology. This is her story of silence, of strength, and of finding a voice where she thought she had none. Rena lived in a small town, the kind where everyone knew everything about everyone. She was quiet, gentle, the kind of girl who helped her neighbors without being asked. Her cousin, Tara, was the opposite. Loud, rebellious, and wild. When Tara ran away with a married man, the entire family was thrown into disgrace. People whispered. Fingers pointed. The family shop saw fewer customers. One evening, Rena overheard her parents arguing. Her father said, "We have to fix this. We need to show the community we're still honorable." Her mother replied, "What are you suggesting?" Then silence. The next morning, they told Rena she was getting married to a retired colonel named Viraj. He was 42. She was 20. There was no celebration, just a rushed ceremony at a relative's home. Rena wore a borrowed sari. Her hands trembled. Colonel Viraj barely looked at her. He stood straight, serious, as if this was a transaction. After the wedding, she was taken to his home, a large, cold house filled with silence and memories. His sister, Devika, greeted her with a forced smile. His mother, Amarji, looked her up and down and said, "You're here to correct your family's mistake. Don't embarrass us." Rena bowed her head. She was now a wife, a stranger in a soldier's home. From the first day, Rena learned her place. She had to wake before dawn, serve tea to Amarji, cook without complaint, speak only when spoken to. Colonel Viraj treated her like an object. Formal, distant, he gave orders, never asked questions. She wasn't allowed to leave the house alone, no phone calls, no letters to friends. Devika often reminded her, "You're lucky he accepted you. After what your cousin did, no one else would." Rena never replied. She folded her silence like a sari and wore it every day. One morning, her hands shaking from lack of sleep, Rena dropped Amarji's favorite teacup. It shattered on the floor. Amarji screamed. Viraj entered, calm but cold. "You're careless," he said. "You're here to bring respect, not destroy it." That night, Rena cried quietly, not because of the scolding, but because no one asked if she was okay. Months passed. Then one rainy afternoon, Rena was helping Devika in the kitchen. She slipped and cut her palm on a broken plate. Viraj happened to walk in. For the first time, he looked concerned. He helped her sit, bandaged her hand. "Be careful," he said softly. It was the first gentle word he had spoken to her. That night, he left a small sweet on her bedside table, no note. Just the sweet. Rena stared at it for a long time. It tasted like sugar and confusion. Weeks later, Viroj found Reena reading an old poetry book in the study. He was surprised. "You read Tagore?" he asked. She nodded. For the first time, they spoke for more than a minute. About books. About silence. About regret. Reena learned that Viroj had lost his wife 10 years ago. She died while he was away at war. "I built walls to survive," he admitted. "But perhaps it's time I open a window." Reena didn't reply, but she smiled. Just a little. One morning, Devika sat beside Reena. She looked tired. "Older. I was once like you," she said. Devika had been in love once. But Amarji refused the match. She said love was weakness. "That duty comes first." Devika stayed, grew bitter. "Cold. Don't let them turn you into me," she whispered. For the first time, Reena saw Devika's pain. It mirrored her own. On her 22nd birthday, Reena received a letter from her younger sister. "I miss you," it read. "I heard you're quiet, but I know your heart still sings." Reena held the letter to her chest. That night, she hummed a lullaby she hadn't sung in years. Viroj listened from the hallway. He didn't interrupt. But the next day, he gave her a music box, with a quiet smile. Over time, Reena changed. She still followed the house rules, but she added her own. Smile once a day. Read one poem. Say one kind thing, even if no one hears it. She began tutoring a neighbor's daughter in secret. Viroj found out. He didn't stop her. He joined one day, listening in silence. They weren't lovers, not yet, but they were no longer strangers. One spring morning, Viroj asked Reena, "Would you like to walk in the garden with me?" She nodded. They walked in silence. Then he said, "I'm sorry. For how it began. For how I treated you." Reena looked at him and replied, "I was taught to obey, not to feel. But I'm learning." They walked a little more, side by side, and in that quiet, something bloomed. Not forgiveness, not love, but something close. Reena never forgot the day she was forced into marriage, but she also never forgot the day she chose to stay, not for duty, not for shame, but because in a house full of silence, she built her own voice, a whisper at first, then a song. This is not a story of a perfect ending. It's a story of growth, of two broken people learning to soften, and of a girl who became a woman, not by obeying, but by choosing.